Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome back to the channel. So if you're new to the channel, and this, oh, mother, father. Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Big Ball Vlogs. I do reviews, news, everyday vlogging, and every once in a while, I'll do a tutorial. If this video is educational or somewhat entertaining, please consider smashing that like button and maybe subscribing to the channel for new videos when I post them. So as you can see, I'm back today at the tabletop, so that must mean I am doing another product review. But in this situation, I don't really want to call it review because I'll get into that in a minute. I won't call this a product review. I'll call this a product overview because we're going to go over a couple of things, a couple of different things to kind of explain what this product is and how it works for you, instead of just giving you a review of how well they work. I don't think that I can kind of justify or substantiate that these are actually something that you need. And I can't really substantiate that you're getting additional quality out of them without taking an additional, I don't know, like days worth of B-roll and having some kind of editing software to kind of like pixel peek and show you the quality differences. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to just tell you about the product, tell you how they benefit me, and maybe give you enough information to make an informed purchase. So let's get into it. Today, we are going to be talking about a product that I picked up of Amazon. This is the Neewer. I always want to say Neewer, but this is the Neewer Polarized ND filter set for the DJI Mavic Air 2. Before we get into all the details, let's talk about what these actually are, because if you're new to droning or maybe not so new to droning and you've heard about ND filters and you've been looking for a set, the ND filter set that comes with the DJI Mavic Air 2 Fly More combo, I think from DJI, costs about $80. So a lot of people pass up on these stock DJI sets and they go to like Amazon and other sources to get a set, and those are probably pretty expensive too. And to be honest with you, I don't think that you need to go out and spend $150, $120 on a set of filters that has like 8 to 12 different filters in it. For me personally, I've only used maybe 3 different filters because I like to shoot from sun up to sunrise without changing them out as often. I don't think I've ever been in or will ever be in a situation where I would need what I would call a welding shield, which is like an ND 256 that you can barely see through. So usually I start at somewhere around an ND 8 and I end up with somewhere around an ND 32. But most often I'll leave like an ND 8 on from sun up to sunrise and just call it a day because I don't like to switch out filters a lot and play with the settings. What does an ND filter do if you haven't had the exposure? An ND filter basically is a pair of sunglasses for your drone. It allows your drone to pretty much like you in a bright sunny day, keep your eyes open and see that detail of the things that you are looking at, and in this situation what your drone is filming, by allowing that shutter to stay open wider without being overexposed, and allowing a lot more detail to come into the camera and reach the camera lens or the camera sensor, come in through the camera lens and reach the camera sensor. Now, what does a polarizer do? If you've been into fishing, if you've been into water sports, maybe you just bought a pair of glasses for driving, a polarizer kind of bends the reflective light fields, I guess, that are coming off of reflective and maybe not so reflective objects, and kind of filters it out. So for fishing, a pair of polarized fishing glasses, of course they are sunglasses, but they also allow you to see clearly into the water. I have seen big fish swim by that I wouldn't have been able to see without a pair of polarized sunglasses on. If I had a regular pair of sunglasses on, I'm going to just get that reflection off the top of the water, not being able to see through it. With a pair of polarized sunglasses on, I'm able to see through it. So I have a little bit of an example of how a polarizer works if you haven't seen one. I use the polarizer in this situation over my camera lens, and what I did was I kind of just looked at some reflective surfaces, like a car with the windshield. A lot of times if you have polarized sunglasses for driving, without polarization, you can't see the driver on the other side of the windshield. With polarization, you can. And as I rotate the polarizing lens on this particular set of filters, you can actually see the reflection disappearing in certain situations, in certain areas, and actually being able to see through the windshield where you weren't able to see through the windshield before. So that's what you get from the polarized part of it. And in this particular set of lenses or polarized ND filter, what you're going to get is the sunglass and the polarization, which gives you the best of two worlds, like a pair of fishing or polarized sunglasses that you would use for your own personal benefit. Do you need a pair of polarized sunglasses to drive down the road? No. But if it's a bright sunny day and you get a lot of reflection coming off of cars, yes, a pair of polarizers will actually help because it will block out some of that glare. And that's what you're getting when you use a CPL a drone lens with the ND filter versus just, the stock lens on the camera, or an ND filter, just a stock ND filter. So why do I use it? I use it because I prefer the polarization over the f-stops that you get from an ND filter. And the reason for that, like this is my CPL for my, any camera that has a 52 millimeter adapter on it. The reason for that is because I am interested in seeing that contrast bumped up, and I'm actually interested in seeing that saturation bumped up. And what I can do with this when I put it on a camera, I wish I would have used this for like some B-roll, but I can rotate this sort of pointing at trees or the sky, and I can definitely see the differences in the sky changing from, a light blue to a much darker blue, also getting a lot more greens out of the trees. So if I had a choice of buying a set of lenses for my drone, because again, I don't think that you need a redundant set where there's a polarized, ND16 and a non-polarized ND16. I think, for me personally, I just need one set. I'm probably going to pick the polarized set over the just stock ND set. And like I said, it's for me, personal preferences. You do what is best for you. But again, I don't like to change out a lot of lenses. I don't like to change out a lot. That's why I don't have like a lot of changeable lens cameras. And I don't like to change out a lot of filters. Now, the problem that you have with a drone when you're using a polarized filter is that it's kind of hard to set that polarization. You have to set the polarization or you're not going to get the effect that you're expecting. And because you have to hold the gimbal while you're doing it, while rotating the lens, it makes it very difficult to do because your gimbal's going to be overloading, and you're going to see on your screen, hey, gimbal overload, gimbal overload. So it's probably not the best thing for your drone, but I have a tip that I usually do. It works for me. I use my cell phone. Like I said, I just take the cell phone, I put the lens over the cell phone, and I check the polarization through the lens on the camera on the cell phone, knowing that I should get the same effect when I snap the lens onto the drone. I mark it, I leave it there, and it should never move unless I bump it. But with that mark there, I can tell where it should be, adjust it, and then put it on the drone before I actually have to set it again before I take off. So this set is pretty cool. Like I said, I like it. I like the Neewer products. I've been talking about them for a long time. Like I said, I should try to get some kind of affiliate with them because, I like their products, and usually they have a good product. I know people will question, hey, I should spend more money and get a better quality lens. I mean, you could spend more money, but are you guaranteed a better quality lens is the question. With Neewer, I can tell you, yeah, they've made some mistakes. It comes down to design for me when it comes to some of these lenses. As you can see on this, if I can get that in focus, there is a little piece that kind of protrudes out of the lens. It doesn't sit flush. And with a previous attempt, I think Neewer had a poor design, and I think it was for the Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro. When the drone went to calibrate and it's moving around, that protrusion actually banged up against the actual gimbal arm. It wouldn't allow the drone to reach, or the calibration to reach its maximum throw, and it would not work. There have been situations where, some manufacturers have made filters that are too heavy, and that's even, some of the more, name brand expensive manufacturers. They've made ND filters that the glass was too heavy, the materials were too heavy, and the drone wasn't able to give you a stable video because of that additional weight as it's flying around, and the gimbal's already shaking as it's flying around. It gave you a lot of jello effect in the image after you got back to home and filmed for like 45 minutes. You see that the video footage isn't usable because there's a lot of vibration in it. So testing these, I mean, like I can show you, I mean, you've probably already seen this video, but if not, here's a video of this thing firing up, and yes, it is able to reach maximum throw and calibration. It also is a very, very nice looking filter. It's not something that, just, crap that you get what they say, you get what you pay for, because you didn't pay a lot, you got a crappy filter. It is a quality filter. It's got, a red anodized ring on it. It's got a marker on it so you can see, where the center is and where your polarization should be, or where you want it to be. It's actually etched with the Neewer name and the actual, density of the filter. So this is ND16. I don't think you can see that. It's probably not focusing well. So I like it. I mean, I can't complain about it. And, comparing this set to like the stock DJI set, if you didn't get the Fly More combo, the stock DJI set is about $90 from when I last checked it. And even like I said, when you go online and you search through Amazon, you're going to find like Polar Pros or something like that. You're going to get like 24 filters for like $215, and you don't need them. And even the base sets are like $100. So, hey, you know how I am. I go for, more value over cost and hope for the best. If it's a good value, even if the quality is a little bit less, I'm going to buy that over like an expensive set, because I'm probably not, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not even going to get the value out of it because, like I said, I'm not going to use all 6 or 8 filters that they sent me. And, it's just money that went to waste. But using these, this is where it kind of gets difficult. And like I said, I don't want to give you like a review, because if I give you a review, that means that I am telling you how well these work. Whereas I want to tell you how they work and give you enough information to let you know whether or not they're worth picking up. So giving you enough information to make an informed purchase. So Yeah, maybe if I had the equipment and the time to do it, I could have shot like, 36 videos in different lighting situations using different filters at different polarizations, done some pixel peaking, zoomed in on some areas and said, hey, this is the benefit of this particular, filter over this particular filter. Didn't do that. I just shot some basic everyday vlogger video using, in this situation, an ND16. I shot it at, the golden hour where many of us are out trying to get that color from the sun and the clouds. And I shot it, in midday. And yeah, for me personally, just based off of the video that I shot, I can see a difference using the CPL over using the regular ND filter and no filter at all. Is it enough to go out and justify buying a set of these? Probably not. Again, a lot of people focus on, high-end production to shoot a video that they're going to show their friends on their phones. And, just the additional money could have gone into like an extra battery or some extra props or something that, that you'll actually end up using in the long run. I think that, a set of filters, ND filters or polarized filters are probably, a staple for having any camera or drone. So yeah, you want a set, but do you need a PL set? No, just my personal opinion. I like the PL sets over the regular ND filters versus, not using a filter at all. So, look at the video that I shot. It was the golden hour. And as I kind of like panned up, you can definitely see that, one of the images, the no filter image is a lot brighter because the camera, is compensating for, the pretty much low light conditions that were happening around 7:30. And then you have the ND filter. And if you look at some of the detail that you get of the ND filter video versus the PL filter video, at the end there, as I pan over the buildings and you can see the sun, kind of like reflecting off the top of the buildings, that's the additional little bit of detail that you're probably going to get using an ND filter with a polarization versus just a regular ND filter. Would you have even noticed the fact that you can see the reflection of color coming off of the building with the polarization versus the non-polarization? Probably not. It's just that small amount of detail that somebody's going to see. I mean, somebody's going to see. In fact, somebody did see that those pictures were not evenly spaced and they were only about that much apart. Someone's got like a 90-inch TV that can up-res the 4K and it's going to pick out all that little detail. And if that's what you're shooting for, yeah, I think you should get a polarized filter over a regular ND filter. It is so hard to keep track of polarized versus non-polarized, but yeah, I think you should get a set. And then in the next video, I tried to do a video where I was trying to show you the polarization flying over water. Now in this situation, I'm not sure what happened here, but I saw very little difference in performance between polarization and non-polarization, and I was kind of shocked on that. Looking at the video footage, for some reason, unless I mixed up the files, it actually looked like the non-polarized gave me better image quality than the polarized lens. But I don't think I mixed up the video footage. But the one thing that is very, very hard to do, because the Mavic Air 2 doesn't have like what do they call it, waypoints that you can kind of save, is recreate the shot that you did previous. So I tried my best. I took it up to 200 feet. I turned it so that I can aim it, in the same direction, and flew it from over my head for 5 seconds. But even then, when you're panning and rotating the gimbal, you're going to lose a little bit of timing. And with 5, maybe 6 minutes between each shot, the sun could be lowering itself on you, and you probably won't get the same image that you were getting or that you got from the previous shot. So, again, I just want to kind of give you an example of what I got from using, polarized versus non-polarized, and give you enough information that if you want to pick up one of these sets, you would, be confident enough to pick up the Neewer set without having to worry about image quality or having to worry about, quality of build so that it's going to lock up your gimbal. And cost, like I said, for $30, it's probably one of the more inexpensive sets that I found on Amazon. I mean, there are not a lot of Amazon accessories out there, and they're either garbage that you don't want or something that's way too expensive that you don't need. But this particular set of filters, I think, is something that you might want to have in your kit. So hey, hopefully I didn't bore you with that little bit of information or overview about the Neewer circular polarized ND filters. If you're interested in these, I will leave a link to them in the description below. Please shop my Amazon links. It helps out the channel. It helps me out. And, I'm trying to, make something on the channel, keep the content coming. And I need, kind of like the funding to keep that going, to buy these little toys. This is coming, by the way, a little bit of video from the Cinema up there. But I appreciate you watching. I will talk to you later.